Hello, I'm TheZOMBIEJ. It's time for another Bionicle related video. This time it's a list video. Last time we did a list, it was the top 10, if I recall, best Bionicle sets from G1. And well, I'm not sure how well my number one choice fared with some folks, but hey, I don't care. Rudaka's still my favorite Bionicle G1 set. If you disagree, there you go. So this time, we're going to be talking about the top 5 worst Bionicle G1 and G2 sets. So, because this one was hard, too, for me, because I loved, well, not loved, but I generally liked all of the Bionicle sets we got from G1. There were only at least a couple of Bionicle G2 sets that were kind of not that good, but so much and so bad. In fact, the rest of the Bionicle G2 sets were combined better than the two. Yeah, we'll get to it. So there's only 5 on here. One of them is a twofer. And we have an honorable mention to get out of the way first. And the honorable mention is the Valky. The Valky aren't really honestly that bad. I mean, yeah, they're clone sets. The only difference is the discs they shoot, the tools, and their colors. And some people like to think that the Valky were bad sets. I mean, they were robots, apparently. Of course they were going to be bad. Not saying all robot characters are bad, but hey, they were alright sets for the time. And when you look back on it now, you'll realize, yeah, there's some subtle genius to those sets. You just gotta find it. They had an interesting gimmick, but that's all that there really is to it. Now on to the top 5 list, starting with Skull Scorpio. This kind of pisses me off because, well, I actually like Skull Scorpio, to be honest. Skull Scorpio had an interesting function. I'm looking at him right now. He's on the shelf right there. And he had an interesting function with his tail. You pull the trigger on his tail and he goes... and it's kind of funny. I guess the body and the torso, the arms are built rather well. There's interesting design choices, but the problem lies in Skull Scorpio is the legs. That is the big, basically, fuck you to us, the fans, for purchasing the fucking set, is the legs. The legs really were, they were just static. They were solid. There was, it felt like Skull Scorpio was immobile. What the fuck? So yeah, Skull Scorpio definitely was a set that was hindered by its sheer staticness. You can pose the head, you can pose the arms, you can pose the tail, you can do the function with the tail, but other than that, he's just static. There's no point. It's just, what the hell? At the same time, it can be fixed. You can do all sorts of mocking stuff, and it'll be fine. Number 4 is Ketar, Creature of Stone. Yeah, I'm looking at Ketar right now. I don't think he's a terrible set. He's, honestly, I feel like they could have done worse, honestly. They could have done better, yes, but they could have done worse. His problem is, yeah, I want to say his problem is the pincer claw things, which are supposed to be psh, psh, psh. But they're just giants. They're just swords with some kind of armor attachment, crystalline piece on them. So they could have gotten a bit more creative with Ketar. I guess they were trying to be creative, but with bringing his tail up and then swinging it, kind of a gear function. And his arms go. And it's like, plus he just doesn't look that good, to be honest. They really dropped the ball with Ketar. I mean, he was supposed to be a scorpion type of thing, but all I see is kind of a jumbled mess, to be honest. But Might be the worst creature out of the 6 creatures we got. But at the same time, not the worst Bionicle set that ever existed. Number 3 is a twofer. We'll start with Tuma. Yes, I have to agree, Tuma is probably a bad set. He's just a bit of a mess, you know? I mean, his arms did not need the extra friction. He did not need the Avmatoran things on his back to represent shoulder blades. And he kind of didn't need, like he really didn't need those, to be honest. But it was a Titan set. They wanted to squeeze out as much as they could for the parts count, and there you go. They also had the audacity to give him an ass, which they carried over to Von Nebula. In fact, Von Nebula's design, to basically be as honest as possible as I can, Von Nebula clearly was inspired by Tuma. And clearly Tuma was a good set, because Von Nebula became... Tuma definitely was clunky. He had design issues, he had gaps aplenty, parts decisions that you could have cut out at least like 30 or so pieces, and I think he would have, and he probably would have... there's some things on that set I'm looking at him right now. There's some things that you could probably do better. Yeah, he's back there. Yeah, you could probably do better. I think they did better to some degree with Von Nebula for Hero Factory, but at the same time, I understand why people don't like Tuma's design. I mean, I think he looks cool. That's all I think. But I recognize his flaws. I mean, he's a flawed set. At that time, the only thing exclusive to him was his mask or helmet, whatever the fuck. But at the, you know, he didn't really need those stickers. They were unnecessary. This is kind of a thing that's whatever. But Tuma, definitely not the absolute worst Bionicle set, but at the time we've already gotten all the parts that you see in Tuma in other sets. Talk about lazy. And the other half of number 3 is Akmu, the Pomatoran. Yeah. It's not that I hate Akmu's design. I mean, it's just the Matoran design. I have him right there. In fact, here he is. Come here, Akmu, you little bastard. Here he is. I like the Matoran, the Metroid Matoran design. I think it's not as charming as the 01 Matoran design, but it's interesting, you know, it's different. The reason why I put Akmu on this list is just because of personal preference and the fact that he's a fucking traitor. He sold his fellow Pomatorans out to be part of, you know, Makuta's plot against Matanui and whatnot. That is absolute bullshit. That is absolute tyranny and stupidity. I can't understand with a straight face why Akmu honestly had to be... He's a Matoran. He doesn't have to be a fucking bad guy. I mean, we can easily pretend that he was a good guy, you know, that alternate universe type of thing, and those exist too, I'm sure. But Akmu, while aesthetically is a decent set, they're all just clone sets, the Matorans. I definitely hate his personality. He seems like a cowardice traitor, much like Metis. But yeah, this is just a personal choice for me, sorry. Number 2 is the Borakal. Oh my god, the Borakal. Yes, I actually have 2 of the Borakal. I'm still collecting the others 4. Because I gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon. Yeah, I'm not a Pokemon fan, but I respect its legacy. Anyway, yeah, the Borakal, the first half of 2003 was kind of strange. It was one of those, it's probably the year that was kind of butchered in some way until we got the Rockshi and Makuta and, you know, the other sets, the Titan sets, Takanuva, and the movie Mask of Light, and the Bionicle the game, and better stuff came out in the second half of 2003. In the first half, the Matoran rebuild was kind of alright for the most part. I mean, I have Holly over there, she's cool, but other than that, I don't know, the Borak Kal are basically just the Borak, but silver. No, that's just cash grab, I think, is what they were doing there. It's like they were rehashing the same thing, but putting silver on them. New shields, and Chronicall, and there's only 6 of them this time around. And they were sentient, apparently, which, okay, that's a good plot thing, but at the same time, do we have to complete our collection by adding all 6 of the Borak? They're just the same thing, honestly. They're just clone sets that nobody honestly really needed, unless you're a fucking completionist, which I can be sometimes, because I'm going to be collecting the sets anyway, so, but I feel like the Borak Kal were just kind of a misstep, a missed opportunity for Lego, and for Bionicle 2003, the first half at least. But hey, the Borak Kal are only at number 2. Sucks to be number 2, right? Number 1 is Kreka. Why did I put Kreka at number 1, you may ask? It's simply because, well, you know the gear function that you twist on his back and it rotates his head side to side, and also there's fucking chest armor side to side too, so it's static. Well, hey, at least you can pose his head in different ways, so it's like, okay, that's a useless function, I don't get it. Then there's another function that you flip something and it launches this thing over his fucking shoulder, and it's his disc launcher, and he shoots, and yeah. Plus he has that stupid sight thing, which is next to his name, plus the sight. And the other portions of his torso, it was just kind of a lazy and somewhat clunky design. I did not... At the time, I liked Kreka's design, but nowadays I'm like... I look at pictures of Kreka, and I'm like, do I really want to collect this thing again? Do I really want to? Well, I guess for story reasons, probably. But at the same time, at least with Nidhiki, you can convert him from giant walking crab guy to actual crab or spider looking thing, which, hey, at least he looked cool that way. Nidhiki definitely had some interesting design elements and design choices. Kreka just felt like a really strangely designed character. His character was definitely kind of dumb, literally. And I don't get it. I don't get it. There was definitely some design philosophies with Kreka that did not pan over very well, and I'm sure there's people out there that love Kreka. Well, you're wrong. Kreka is definitely the worst G1 set. Even worse than Tuma? Well, actually, yes, he is worse than Tuma. I at least like the aesthetic. I like the look of Tuma from afar. And up close, I guess. But when I look at Kreka, I look at Kreka and I'm like, this is a complete mess. He looks like a mess. He looks more of a mess than fucking Tuma. At least Tuma was able to inspire the Hero Factory designers to create Von Nebula and give us a set that had that shared elements from Tuma, but also did some reworking and tweaking and whatnot, especially with the legs. The legs were an interesting design choice. And overall, just Kreka was just kind of weird. And plus the fact that he had 2 different freaking weapons, a Rakshi staff, Vorak, and a Vaki staff, and 2 different arms as well. What the fuck? Ugh. Jesus. God damn. Definitely, obviously the asymmetry, maybe that's specific to Kreka in the way he was built or something. I don't know. It was definitely the way he was designed. The final product was just kind of weird and strange and disoriented, and it just overall felt like a wasted opportunity. And obviously I don't really like the character of Kreka anyway. I just feel like his dumbass personality is just kind of dumb, and I don't really like him. I kind of tolerate Nidhiki better than Kreka, at least. Nidhiki sounds like he would be better at parties than Kreka. So that is my list of the top 5, plus an honorable mention, worst Bionicle sets of all time. And no, I didn't put the little chibi thing from 2022, the big freaking set on there, as well as the promo set. I didn't put those on there because they're actually pretty good for system recreations. Well, okay, the promo set was pretty good as a system creation, and the little chibi thing, okay, maybe I should add that as an honorable mention, because that thing was cursed and fucking what the fuck. So this was definitely a hard list for me to compose. I just generally like most, if not all, of the Bionicle sets we got in G1. There's definitely some that were, well, obviously the ones on the list that I didn't care for. There was some design elements from each and every set here and there that I just did not care about, but I understood why they were there. And obviously, if I was that great of a mockist, I could redesign the set to fit my standards. But I don't do that because I don't want to revamp Kreka, because that's just a project I'm not willing to take on. I've seen, there's videos on YouTube where people did revamps, like epic versions of, like Antros, for example. This one dude, he did Antros, and he ruined the fucking set! He looked perfectly fine as is, the Fantoka Antros Demon of the Sky looking thing. You fucking ruined it, dude. Why? I didn't. Oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, Antros is perfectly fine as is. The revamp I saw, I don't like it. Sorry, that's just my opinion. And opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. Everyone is one. And yeah. So, what is your list of the top 5 worst Bionicle sets in the comment section below? And if you put the promo set from last year, well, I guess I can understand, purists, but at the same time, it's all just personal opinions. So stay tuned for more videos. I am TheZOMBIEJ. I'll see you folks. Have a good fucking day, and peace.